Hi everyone, welcome to Tile and Cork. We are Amy and Josh, and we moved from Austin, Texas, not Boston, Austin, with our two kids last year back in 2024. And so we are here sharing our experiences moving abroad with you. So if this is something you are interested in, wanting to hear about our life in Lisbon or tips on moving abroad, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos.
And today we are on video 3 of 3. We were talking previously about getting our VFS appointments and getting all our documents together. And today we're going to talk about our actual VFS appointment that we had in Houston at the VFS office. VFS is the third-party company that does the interview and collects all the documents and sends them to the Portuguese government for review.
Yeah, they're kind of a processing center, and then they send them off to the consulates
and it's not just for not just for Portugal. If you go, you'll see that there are lots of representatives from all over doing visa applications for different countries.
Yeah, but we're going to be here talking about our specific one to move to Portugal. All right.
We were able to secure 2 different appointments on 2 different days. We had actually 2 appointments for us on one day, 2 appointments for the kids on the next day, but we lucked out. They were able to handle us all in the same day.
Okay, so we had our appointments, but we decided that we had morning appointments, so we actually drove in from Austin the day before our appointments because the VFS office is in downtown Houston, and we didn't want to have to worry about morning rush hour and all that stuff from Austin. So we stayed in a hotel that was, I think, just a couple blocks away from the VFS office. So it was super easy to just walk over there the morning of our appointment. And
we actually, it turned out there was also almost kind of a tornado right before we arrived.
Oh, right.
There was a giant storm. So all the traffic that we thought we were going to encounter when we arrived, it was a ghost town.
But there was actually, I think the week before, there was a giant storm that came through that like blew roofs off of some places. I had to make sure our hotel wasn't impacted by it. I was worried about our VFS appointments being canceled.
Right.
But luckily, everything was fine. But there was a storm right before.
Just a little background.
Yeah. Some places were closed for eating and everything, but we got there. We had a nice afternoon, evening,
morning. Walk to our appointments. You had to have a pass. You had to have an appointment to even get in the elevator to go up. They have a security and they have a metal detector you have to walk through. You are not allowed to bring tablets or cell phones into the visa application area, but you can actually have them around the corner, just a few feet away, really. And there is a separate waiting area. If we'd known that, we would have probably brought iPads for the kids and sat over there.
Yeah, instead we brought a lot of toys
and we
to
sat,
keep them entertained.
Because it was a couple hours of sitting there.
Yeah. But finally, we were called up. I went up with all of our documents because we had them all organized into folders, one for each of us. We kind of had them separated out by person because we knew that we were going to be, our application packets were each separate. So I sat at that counter, kind of went through the documents, organized them with the woman who was helping us out. She told me what order to put them in. And so she was going through putting stuff into the computer while I was trying to organize documents, get everything together. She, I think, processed me first, and then you just had to come up to kind of sign some of the documents. And then she processed the kids. And it went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, we also did get our pictures taken there. So they just had us stand against the walls. They took a couple pictures. Those are the ones that are actually on our residency card. And they're not. No. It's what? Right. We did this last time. Sorry, my bad.
Our daughter's is the one that's on her residency card because the place she had did not have photo stuff. But at our residency appointments, they took different pictures. So
they also they were pretty busy that day, so they did consider not processing our children that day, and not. But I think because we actually had us scheduled one day and then the kids scheduled separately, like there's no other adult
because they
scheduled
were
with them.
Just minors, yeah.
Yeah, they decided to process them all that day.
Yeah, we had to pay a walk-in fee because they were processing us all on the same day, and our kids technically didn't have appointments that day. But totally worth it, because then we were able to not book another night at the hotel. We thought we might have to.
Yeah,
we were just able to head back to Austin.
Yeah.
So.
And then I think if looking back, like we knew the process went pretty well. They didn't tell us, yes, you're accepted, but they didn't have any questions. They didn't have any other missing documents.
The only thing I think that she didn't take was last year's tax return. I had prepared that, but she handed it back to me and said, like, no, don't need this. Now, sometimes you might actually want to say, like, yeah, take this, like, just include it, can you? But I just took it back and we still got approved. So that was the only thing.
We were done, right?
Yep.
Make it sound pretty easy, but it was a long day.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and entertaining the kids. And
stressful just because you don't know how it's going to go. So.
You also, you do also have to pay for the application fee, right?
Yes.
Which changes, I think, on a monthly basis, but it's mostly based on the exchange rate, right? And so they publish it, but I'm not sure when they change it. So what we did is they'll hand you a piece of paper that tells you how much it is per application. And we have to get 4 of those money orders. There's, I think, around the corner from every one of these VFS offices around the country, there's a place to get money orders. I ran down and they had an ATM, so you can pay cash, you can draw out whatever you need, and then buy the money orders. Once you get your money orders, you'll want to take a picture of them, so you have the numbers of them. Mostly because you can look up and see if they've been cashed. And
it's the, I think, Portuguese embassy that cashes them.
Honestly, the only reason to do that is because you don't get a lot of feedback. It says you should get an email when they're reached different stages or when they've been processed. You don't. The only notification we got was that they were ready and they had been approved, and that they were ready to receive our passport. So as just any indicator, it was kind of nice to see, okay, well, at least we know that they cashed them.
Exactly.
They took our money, so they're doing something with it. And so, yeah, take a picture of them. There's also, was there another reason to take a picture? Oh, then you get your receipts too, right?
Yeah.
And your receipt shows...
Yeah, keep your receipt, because your receipt has some information on there too that you can kind of maybe look up the status of stuff. So, yeah.
And then you also purchase basically your FedEx labels that you will include with your passport. So when you FedEx off your passports, you include those labels. They have labels that are already prepaid, and they can mail them back to you. So
yeah. All right. So we had our appointment. We actually had it the week after Memorial Day. So it was the very end of May, and our daughter had just gotten out of school for the summer. And what did we do that summer? So it was kind of a crazy summer waiting for those visa approvals to come through.
Yeah.
We had our flights booked for, I think it was August 8th. So we booked flights for August 8th to arrive in Portugal on August 9th. One-way tickets. And we were keeping our fingers crossed.
And we put that on our application too, so that they would know when we were planning to leave. We didn't know if that would help scooch them along on the process, but... And
we had seen a lot of people get their approval within like 2 months, so we were or sometimes even 40 days. So we were kind of keeping our fingers crossed that we would see an approval in early July, but we weren't sure. And so, yeah, we had a lot to do that summer. So let's talk about what we did that summer.
Yeah, we knew we had a lot to do. We also were dragging our feet because we weren't certain that we would get our visas approved, and without that like definitive approval, you're like, ugh.
Should we clean out the house?
It was also hot. It was summertime, so we saved a lot of stuff for the end. It was the last couple weeks were hard, but we did.
Was a mistake.
We basically moved our house. We didn't move our house. We got rid of everything that we weren't taking. So we decided not to move our entire life over to Portugal. We wanted to start some things new. Also knowing that, we didn't buy any new furniture or make big purchases or cars or anything for the previous few years before we were moving.
Kind of once we decided we were going to make this move, we tried to buy as few things as possible because we knew we would have to move them then, and we didn't want to have to move them. Yeah. So we only moved with 3 crates, 2 suitcases, a couple of backpacks, and so it was really just like, and some of those soft kind of bags. And so we were downsizing because we were getting rid of most of the stuff in our 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a garage, which was full of stuff. And so that summer was really about going through stuff.
Reliving we're like, why did we get all of these things? And then we remembered, the pandemic. We bought a lot of things. We had a big backyard. Yeah. And we just stored them for the next summer or whenever. And so, we had a lot to get rid of. We also let the kids, pack a box of stuff that they would want to take. All their stuffed animals that they did want to take, we vacuum sealed a lot of stuff, and that helped.
Yeah, I think we'll do a whole video on just like the tips we had of moving stuff over here with not, shipping a crate of stuff or anything, but still, as a family of 4 with young kids who are attached to things, kind of what that process was like. But we spent that summer like going through stuff and really deciding what we needed to take with us, what we wanted to take with us.
Right, and then get rid of everything else.
Yeah, garage sale, sold some stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, and then at the end just dumped everything out in the yard and let people know there's free stuff out there.
Yeah, I still have PTSD from that whole situation.
Yeah, that was...
so we have we'll do future videos on what to do and what not to do.
Start early, have the confidence that you know that you're going to get your visa approved. There's always that niggling doubt in the back of your mind that maybe it's not going to happen.
But if you know the requirements and meet them, then, there's really not really any reason why you shouldn't be approved.
You sound confident now, but I think we had a lot less confidence back then. And honestly, there was a point when we hadn't heard anything, and we decided, well, if our travel date comes and we haven't gotten approval, we're just going to go. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff we had to do anyway. We had to get there and find our permanent apartment. We also had to register our daughter for school, and so there was a lot of things that we could get done and then fly back if we needed to to get our visas. But
so I think we hadn't gotten our visas by late. I mean, it was late July when we were like, okay, what are we going to do? Should we start getting rid of everything and really getting rid of our furniture? What should we do? And I think at that point we talked about it and we really said, okay, we're still going to move on our move date. If our visas aren't approved, we're still going to move on that date and we'll fly back to the U.S. Once our visas are approved, to get the visa stamped in our passport, and we're going to do it. And that was just...
And once we did that, it took a lot of pressure off of us.
Yeah.
Well, I should say, we got control of the situation. We took it out of the hands of VFS and the embassy, and it was back in our hands. And then things moved a lot quicker, a lot more smoothly.
We were able to actually say, okay, we're getting rid of everything. We're doing this because we're moving on this date. Yeah. This is what we're planning for. No big deal. So it was a huge mental shift. And I think it really helped.
We also took the time to visit family around the States. Thinking it would be the last time we'd see them for a while at least. I was wrong. We've already had visitors this year, so...
Some of the family we saw last summer has been here already. So.
It turns out when you move to someplace like Portugal, people might come and visit you.
Yeah. So we did a whole trip out to the West Coast to see your family, a lot of your friends, and just kind of spend time. So we did, I think, was it 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks that we really spent traveling around the West Coast. So that was really nice. We got to see a lot of family, and it was a little vacation for the kids too. And we got to kind of see how they traveled, which was really nice for our move over here too, because we, just got to see they got to sleep in some different beds.
It also prepared them for moving. Yeah. There was none of this. We moved from our house of several years to moving here, and it was different. we probably stayed in on that trip maybe like six or seven places.
Yeah.
They slept in different beds. They had a great time. But by the time we moved here, they had been traveling for a while. They couldn't remember what the house was probably that we lived in. It was like, I want to go live in that last place. I think our son was confused as to what our permanent home had been. It was like some apartment that we stayed a couple weeks in or whatever. But it really did, I think it really prepared them for moving here.
So because we had decided that we were definitely moving, we actually wound up kind of moving into my mom's house for a week before our visa approval, because she lived 15 minutes away from us. And so the kids and I kind of moved over there. You were doing a lot at the house. You did a lot of stuff at the house.
But since we're getting rid of everything, we were going to be getting rid of beds and places to sleep. And so, we want to give us a lot of space to clear everything out. And
not have them being like, what's going on at the house?
Right.
And so my mom helped a lot take care of them and stuff while we were, trying to go through stuff. And so we were over there. And there was one day, you and I were both at the house, and all of a sudden I checked my email, and I had gotten the email that our visas had been approved, and it was a Friday, and luckily,
and I think we've been, we were checking emails, every
hour.
couple hours or something like that. So
we were
when it did
busy,
come, it was a shock.
Yeah, we were busy going through stuff, and I was just like, oh, blah, blah, and I think we were saying something about it, and I checked my email, and I'm like, oh, here it is. Like, we've been approved.
Friday afternoon, we were planning, our flight was the following Thursday. So, yeah, I mean, and so I ran out, I ran to FedEx.
And I realized I had all our passports with me. And so I didn't have to run back to my mom's house to get them or anything. So yeah.
Took them FedEx. Not only did we do them for delivery on Monday, we did them not only for first thing Monday, but on the first truck. You can pay extra, another $10 here, another $15. But in the scheme of things, the price we're paying for everything, it was worth the extra. What turned out to be probably $25 to have it on the first truck, first thing on Monday, because we did receive them back FedEx on Tuesday, right?
I think so.
They processed them. Yeah. They got them, processed them on Monday, and put them in another envelope, and they went out. And I think we got them Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, so we got them Tuesday, had them in hand, visas stamped in all of our passports. So we were confident then that we could do our flights on Thursday. So then, it was kind of a rush to get everything done. But Thursday morning, then we headed to the airport to fly to Portugal.
We still were honestly getting rid of our cars. We donated one. We sold the other.
My mom helped us out with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot to do, and yes, we wish we always started earlier. But I'd say live and learn, but I don't think we would ever learn that. I was cleaning. I was getting everything out of that house up until a few hours before we left, and we were out the door and off to Portugal.
Yeah, and we arrived.
Never looking
back.
We're here. Honestly, and a lot of this change can be hard. It's a process, but it's a change that's moving to a better situation, at least for us, and it beats just doing that move to somewhere else in the United States or whatever. Here we are. We've improved our situation. It was 100% worth it.
Absolutely.
And we're so glad to be here.
Yeah,
for sure.
So hopefully you enjoyed this 3-part series on the exact process we made to make this move here to Portugal. And we'll continue to share videos about our move abroad, things that, we found helpful, tips maybe for you guys, and then just about our life in Portugal, because we know some of you might not be planning a move abroad, but maybe you just want to kind of follow along and live vicariously through somebody that's gone through this.
And if you are going through the process and you have any specific questions for us, one of the reasons we're trying to do this series is because we had a lot of questions while we were doing it. Very few of the people we talked to or the videos we watched answered all of our questions. So if you do have any questions about the process, please let us know, and we'll be happy to point you in the right direction or answer them for you in another video.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.